Hello, welcome to the finals of the medium games tournament between Crlundy and Fika Monster. Both have fought their way to the finals through a group stage where they had a bunch of matches, and then the quarterfinals and the semifinals, and earned their right to challenge to become the medium games victor in the third iteration of the medium games tournament. There's now a big games tournament, so the winner of this certainly can promote up to that and face even stiffer competition, although I feel like both these players would do quite well. Let's take a look at this first kingdom. So there's a little bit of all VP and cemetery, but it looks like you're going to want to score with provinces. You can also junk them with the followers, trashing with developed cemetery raise. So decent trashing. Delay can be good with cemetery. Delay can be really good with groom. There are a lot of different interactions here we can go into. Village support is weak. The only village is either Ghost, which you can only get one of, or Trusty Seed, which there's only one of in the kingdom. So a total of 3 villages. Groom Cemetery, I think, is probably the most powerful opening here. You can groom to gain a cemetery, draw a card, get an action, and then trash 4 cards in your hand. Normally with cemetery, you have to spend like 4 coppers to buy it, and you've only got 1 or 2 things left that you can trash. So from the start of it, I don't think raise makes any sense to me. I think you want to be starting with silver and immediately grooming for cemetery. We'll see if you might get the raise to hope to high roll, to hope to trash the haunted mirror. Neither player takes the cemetery. I think that's the best in terms of pace here, is to groom for cemetery the first time through. Your deck will be quite thin. Like this, yeah, that should have been a groom cemetery. You get to trash 4. Maybe you get 2 grooms before you do that. But when your deck is that thin, then you can grab the tournament, grab a couple silvers, and be getting a province very, very quickly with Groom Cemetery.
Hey, Shanahan, can you hear me?
Groom Silver, and pick up, another Groom in that shuffle probably, or another silver. You could, in theory, be all the way down to like 5 or 6 cards by turn 7. They have gone a different route. They're going for a lot of tournaments. Tournaments are kind of going to be cantrip peddlers at the beginning of the game. So if you can get a bunch of those, you can get coins. Yeah, so Fika does realize the cemetery thing, only able to trash 3 coppers, which is sort of one of the worst cases that you can have with Groom. You really want to be trashing 4 in that kind of case, but it is what it is. I don't think you want to trigger this shuffle here. Maybe I'm wrong. So here you can groom for cemetery, trash 3, buy a stables. Stables seems like pretty good draw. You've still got a bunch of treasures in the deck. I'm a little bit surprised at the Otter. They just really wanted to get a province there, I guess. Yeah, I suppose if you know you're going to draw a copper, get a province early. They have so many tournaments in the deck. I normally don't play with as many tournaments as they're playing with now. So that makes it harder. So here, Fika's trashed a lot of coppers already. They've trashed 3, and they don't have any other source of money. I still would consider taking that raise, trashing everything, and then grooming for silvers next turn with a ghost in your deck and the tournament. And if some of these raises were silver, that would be even cleaner. For Fika, I think this should be a stables. Stables will let them draw more, and they've got those extra silvers now, so they've got quite a few treasures. We'll see if Crlundy can collide a tournament with a province. So here I would definitely groom for cemetery and trash 4 coppers. You've already got your province, so you don't need to hit a price point for a while. Worst comes to worst, you can keep thinning and then get some silvers with the Trusty Steed, or cost reduction with Princess, but probably followers is the first attack that you want. I think I'm here really prioritizing getting this thin with cemetery, getting a ghost, and then worrying about the tournament stuff a little bit later. I think you end up colliding about the same time on average, but with a much cleaner deck when you do. And the extra tournaments feel rough now for Fika because Crlundy's got the province. We'll see if they're able to follow suit here. So I would consider playing 2 silvers, buying a cemetery, trashing 3, and taking a ghost. But they really want to get the province in deck. So I don't know. The prizes are nice, but also the ghost is really nice. So I'm going to go with the steed as the first thing. That's really interesting. I would have strongly considered followers as the only attack here. And I guess princess is the only source of plus buy is also really good. It's tough though to make that call. So they do get to trash 3 coppers, which is nice. And they get another. Yeah, followers feels right there. I said there's a little bit of consideration for princess. Lets you pick up like stables, groom, but I think you just get another stables here and feel pretty good about your chances. You've got some raises in the deck still, I think, so you're gonna find situations where you can. You'll have plenty of treasures, and the raises you can trash to get a little bit of filtering if you need to make sure to find treasures. The only concern is if the tournaments are all in hand and your opponent has a province, it makes it really tough to draw because the tournaments don't actually draw you a card. If I was able to get the princess here, I think the princess is really strong. The way it plays here, it's the only source of plus buy. So in theory, Fika's got a deck that can get double province, and Crlundy doesn't. However, in practice, playing the princess every turn and having 12 money seems like it's going to be really difficult when you're getting attacked with followers. So Crlundy just needs to be able to make sure to consistently province. And as I said at the beginning of this turn, if they draw the tournaments, your opponent has province in hand, it's tough. So here, bag of gold, I guess, is fine. You could play the bag of gold and then play the groom to gain cemetery, trash 3, and have a gold on top. You can also gain a groom, trash 3, and delay the bag of gold, although that seems a bit odd. Or you can hope to draw in. Neither player's been able to get a ghost yet. It's only turn 9, but we're sort of past the point where the ghost gets a lot of the value early on from the filtering. It doesn't seem, I think, as over as Fika had said, although that was before they were able to get the princess. But it seems like it's going to be tough for them to come back. Crlundy does need to do a little bit of thinning. They neglected the thinning. To get the province early and get some prizes early. And now they're sort of feeling that a little bit. They need to do a round or 2 of cleanup in order to get rid of the rest of the weak green cards and coppers from their hand. And ideally, with best play. I didn't notice at the end of the last turn they had delayed the tournament, but that was a nice play because they knew the tournament wasn't doing anything and they didn't have enough money to buy something good. So here we can draw. In theory, we can get... in theory, we should be able to gain and play... We should be able to gain and play a ghost here. So we can discard the copper. We can groom for the cemetery and trash copper, haunted mirror, estate, cemetery. Discard something, discard tournament, and then draw either the tournament or the ghost from that we gained. So that seems like it would be pretty sweet. That seems like that would be winning here. And then they could get a ghost and play and ghost whatever they buy, or just ghost the tournament potentially. They even drew the other estate, so they can trash haunted mirror. Yeah, this is quite nice. So now I would play 1 tournament, I guess. I guess you want to draw the ghost sort of no matter what. They want to draw the ghost before they reveal the province, it looks like. I don't think that works the way they think it works. Yeah, the ghost is now a little awkward because they drew deck. It's still fine. They'll be able to able to find things. I think you could also take a groom here and ghost the groom and look to just pile down cemeteries, raises, and estates. But it kind of feels like Crlundy just needed to get a province there. They do have this issue where if somehow Fika gets debt control, again, with the curses that are coming in and the discard attack, they do have the ability to double province. So you kind of want to start loading the piles before that. However, there's only a couple cemeteries left, so if Crlundy can just preemptively take the cemeteries, Fika's never going to be able to get rid of those curses. That's what I was thinking. Even buying a groom and then gaining a groom lets you gain a couple of estates every turn. Lower the estate pile, lower the cemetery pile. The raised pile is real low. The cursed pile is gonna get low as well. I think ghosting stables is like the scariest thing to do in Dominion because you have to have treasures in your starting hand. If you have like 3 tournaments, a cemetery, and a province, you're in trouble. I don't know. I felt like either of them could have spiked province early. I think the groom cemetery is the way to go here. Yeah, so I assume you just draw back up the estate and then get another cemetery trash with groom, and buy a province here. Potentially trash this flag bearer, actually. Looks like the thing you want to do to get yourself the flag back. Yeah, so you groom for cemetery and trash cemetery, estate, flag bearer, copper. Play a couple tournaments. Maybe you get the action prize. What's the action prize? Diadem. Diadem is one of the few words in Dominion that I don't think I've ever heard before playing the game of Dominion. Diadem and Theodem were the two I think that I had never heard in my life. No idea what those words are or what they mean. Trusty Seed, actually, you can play for +2 actions and coins, too. Yeah, but they can just raise the estate now, or raise the flag bearer even. Probably raising the flag bearer is best, since they don't need the money. And just feel reliable in getting provinces every turn. Here, I think Fika's got to play a little bit risky and groom for an estate to try to keep drawing. I think my plan I was describing where I'm getting some extra grooms and grooming down the cemeteries and estates is not particularly any better. Maybe it's just a preference thing difference between what I would do and what. Oh, you got to stop playing these once your opponent reveals province. You got to stop playing these. Here I would raise the cemetery, try to find the ghost. A little bit unfortunate. I think you just take the ghost though and play it. And then delay. Okay, they're gonna play on with followers. That makes more sense than taking a ghost. I'd forgotten that they had action from the Trusty Steed. A lot of players have tournament banned as a card. I don't know if either of these players have it on their dislike list. It does not appear to be, but just because there's only one copy of the prizes, it plays out a little bit differently. What happened there? Fika discarded a province, so that's something to watch out for. That's something to watch out for. Is if they play the followers, you might want to keep a province in hand to block later tournaments. It probably doesn't matter, but it's at least something. Jackal, are you also from Sweden? Because I know Fika Monster's from Sweden, I believe. So I assume you're rooting for the countrymen. All right, so yeah, so Crlundy's got a dud here. Probably they just don't play the second tournament. They play Ghost, and then they delay the stables. And there is a chance that Fika can double here, but it seems quite difficult, and Crlundy is gonna have a big starting hand with the followers and the delayed stables. So even if Fika could double, Crlundy is definitely going to province here. So Fika needs to get like province duchy on this turn, and then province estate next turn. And I guess with the tournament you can get some extra estates. Problem we're seeing though is just with the curses. You know, at some point here, I assume it's too late for Ghost, but at some point here, I assume they'll groom for a cemetery and trash all these curses. That's a nice little VP influx, +5 right now, actually. So they can just buy a province this turn, which is looking unlikely, I suppose. Oh, there it is. So they can groom now for a cemetery, gain 5 VP, play the princess, and buy a province. You know, their deck is still going to be in a little bit of a rough shape. As we're seeing here, this is maybe not the best shuffle, but, you know, we just saw them gain a huge amount of VP. They're just going to grab the last cemetery, and they can even get province duchy here. So this is what I was saying with princess. It gives a little bit of power at the end of this game. And you just have to take a duchy as well as Fika. So they're still in it, certainly. That being said, their chance of dudding is significantly higher than Crlundy's. And they're going to have 2 curses to start with. And Crlundy, I think, can gain a bunch of tournaments here, potentially. If they can find some provinces. Or, win a bunch of tournaments. Win a bunch of tournament prizes. I have to figure out the exact verb. A bunch of prizes here, and then with a bunch of prizes, they'll be able to get a bunch of duchies. A duchy pile out here is not possible, but it's not. Do they only have 1 groom? Does Crlundy have 2 grooms? Yeah, Crlundy only has 1 groom. If they had 2 grooms, they could potentially pile out raises with the grooms, buy an estate, and then tournament 2 more duchies. As is, the piles are very low, so Crlundy does need to take province here somehow. But certainly they need to win some races. They gained another groom. That makes a little bit of sense. I'm a little bit scared right now because of that when you get your turn, you only be able to gain 1 estate, and you really want to have all of your grooms be able to make estates. But the horse is quite nice. And yes, you only just got to take a province, and now Fika Monster has to hope to be able to find stuff near the top of this deck. The tournament's going to hit. I think you play the tournament first. You really want the gold in your hand. Yes, they're only going to find 6 money here, even 3 money now, which is tough, and not the princess. But it's somewhat to be expected. These decks were never clean, never really got to the clean state. They went from the dirty state to the well, you say that, but the game's not over. Fika can groom a estate here. If they draw a treasure, they've got a chance. The second groom is unfortunate because they unfortunately it was their gold, which is really sad to discard. And okay, that's chat does mind because Crlundy doesn't have a clear win in hand. Yep. So now Crlundy just delays stables, and this game continues. It depends now what Fika draws with this tournament. Oh, I guess the tournament's not going to draw. Unfortunate. Ooh, that's sad. You should have. Pretty sure you needed to play the princess for the plus buy. So, yeah, if Fika plays the bag of gold, top decks of gold, plays the tournament, wins the tournament, They draw into the duchy. The duchy costs 5. They're 1 coin short of winning. They can play the tournament and not reveal the duchy and gain a province and take a tie. I believe they have a tie here if they play Bag of Gold. Draw the gold with the tournament. However, what they don't know is that Crlundy has a province, so they do not have a tie. And that's what I was saying. I would have strongly considered ottering the tournament because it may be the tournament doesn't draw. And you want to use the princess as a terminal to get to, if you can somehow get to 9 money for province duchy. If you Bag of Gold, good call. If you Bag of Gold in an otter tournament, you have a tie. I think what they're thinking of is if they have a win, and I don't think they have a win any other way. I mean, yeah, you have to take the tie here because Crlundy's had dud in a row, and they now have a delayed stables, so they have a very good chance. I don't think, based on what Fika just said, that they see... I'm not sure what they're going for. Oh, they can otter this Bag of Gold and hope to draw 1 money. And if they draw 1 money, if they track their deck, they could know. It's not the Haunted Mirror. They've discarded that. They've discarded their other gold. And I don't know how many coppers they've seen. Those are the 2 important treasures that they have. It was the diadem. They gained a diadem to the top of their deck and then drew into it. Okay, so they took a more elaborate line, but we end up with a tie. So always nice to see a hard-fought tie in Dominion. That means both players were doing something right. We move to game 2 with a 0.5 to 0.5 score. Very likely means we're going to get to see 6 games in this match with a decisive 6th game.